The morning Mama Yugo collapsed, the sun was gentle over Lekki, the kind of morning that made you believe everything was in place. Chinedu had just brewed a cup of coffee, ready to dive into his work emails, when he heard the crash. Rushing into the living room, he found his mother on the floor, her mouth twisted, her eyes wide and terrified. The hospital was cold and too quiet. Machines beeped, nurses moved like shadows, and Chinedu sat by her bedside, holding the hand that once fed him, disciplined him, prayed over him. Mama Yugo tried to speak. Her lips trembled, her voice barely a whisper. But two words escaped clearly: forgive your brother. Then, after a long pause, not your fault. Brother, Chinedu blinked. Maybe she was hallucinating. She had only one child. That was what she always said. That was what he believed. But something about the way her fingers gripped his made the words echo in his bones. 2 days later, while searching for her insurance documents, he found an old envelope tucked into a Bible. Inside was a faded photograph. His mother, younger, barefoot, standing in front of a dusty compound in a village he didn't recognize. She held a baby boy on her hip. Beside her stood a man, young, defiant, definitely not Chinedu's late father. On the back of the photo, in neat cursive, to my firstborn, Obina. May life be kinder to you than I was. The floor beneath Chinedu's feet might as well have cracked open. He drove straight to his uncle's house in Suralia. Uncle is, his late father's younger brother, was a stern man with a constant frown. When Chinedu showed him the photo, the frown deepened. "You were never meant to find this," he said after a long silence. "Your mother made a mistake before she married your father. A housemaid in Enugu. Got pregnant for the master's son. Family forced her to leave the baby and move on. She came here, married your father, built a new life. So I have a brother." He looked away. "She buried that part of her life. I suggest you do the same." But Chinedu couldn't. Something inside him shifted that day, a hunger, a crack in the mirror of his perfect life. He needed to find Obina. Not for his mother. Not even for closure. But because something about those words, "forgive your brother," wouldn't let him sleep, he hired a private investigator. Weeks passed. Dead ends, false leads. Then one evening, just as rain began to patter against the windows, he got a call. They'd found him. Obina was living in Mushin. 36 years old. Ex-convict. Never married. Worked at a mechanic shop. Hardened by life, Chinedu drove there the next day. The neighborhood stank of rust, sweat, and smoke. He found Obina under a car, wrench in hand. When Chinedu called his name, the man stood, wiped his hands, and eyed him like a threat. "You're looking for who?" Obina asked. "Obina. Ugochi's son." Silence. Then a short, sharp laugh. "Now you come. When I've already drowned." Chinedu tried to explain, tried to tell him about Mama Yugo, the photograph, the confession, the hospital bed. But Obina only heard betrayal. "Where was she when I was being beaten by strangers? Sleeping in gutters. She moved on. Left me to rot." Later that night, as Chinedu sat in his car outside the hospital, Mama Yugo clutched his wrist with what strength she had left. Her eyes were clearer. Her voice was barely there. "Your brother is in danger. Don't trust. Is." She died minutes later. The world tilted again. Back at Uncle Ize's house, Chinedu pushed harder, demanded the full truth. is finally broke. The child, he said, was a problem. A stain. Years ago, when Chinedu's father died, Mama Yugo had wanted to find Obinna. Reconnect. But he's desperate to secure the family land and legacy, paid someone to handle it. The boy was dumped in Mushin, forgotten. As long as he stayed gone, the land was safe. Obinna, by birth, had equal claim, Chinedu's stomach turned. This wasn't just about secrets. It was about theft. About fear. About a brother thrown to the wolves. He rushed back to Mushin, but Obinna was gone. A neighbor said some family members had come to take him to the village. It wasn't hard to guess where. The family land in Enugu. The one he was desperate to sell. Chinedu made the calls. Alerted the police. Then drove like a man possessed. They found them just as Iz was about to leave. Obinna was there, hands tied, eyes blazing. "I told you," he spat at Chinedu, "your people don't want me." "No," Chinedu said, pulling him close. "They never did. But I do." The police took Iz away. Obinna didn't say a word on the drive back. But his silence wasn't anger anymore, it was confusion. Fear. A lifetime of pain demanding space to breathe. Weeks passed. The land was returned to both brothers. Obinna didn't want his share. Chinedu insisted he take it. They buried Mama Yugo in her hometown. The villagers whispered, confused by the stranger by Chinedu's side. At the gravesite, Obinna stood long after everyone had left. "She left me," he said softly. Chinedu didn't deny it. "She hated herself for it," he replied. "So what do we do now?" Chinedu looked up at the sky. Then at his mother's name etched in stone. "Now," he said, "we try again. As brothers." And for the first time, Obinna nodded, not in forgiveness, but in beginning.